What if I told you that Forrest Gump, the movie that made Tom Hanks a global icon, was almost never made? Imagine if the famous line, "Life is like a box of chocolates," never existed. In this video, we're diving into 20 weird and shocking facts you didn't know about this legendary film. From actors who almost played Forrest to the crazy real-life inspirations behind the story, you won't believe number 7. Down below, comment your favorite Forrest Gump scene, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss these Hollywood secrets. Fact 1. Tom Hanks didn't take a salary. When Tom Hanks signed on to play Forrest, Paramount Pictures couldn't afford his usual salary. Instead of walking away, he made a bold deal. He'd take a cut of the movie's profits. This gamble paid off in a massive way. While his standard paycheck would have been around $10 million, Hanks ended up making over $65 million as the film became a box office phenomenon. What's amazing is that he took this risk because he believed so strongly in the story. Without Hanks's trust, Forrest Gump might never have reached theaters the way it did. His decision is now seen as one of the smartest financial moves in Hollywood history, proving sometimes betting on yourself pays off more than a guaranteed salary. Fact 2. John Travolta almost played Forrest. It's hard to imagine anyone but Tom Hanks as Forrest, but originally the role was offered to John Travolta. At the time, Travolta turned it down, thinking the part wouldn't work for him. He later admitted it was one of the biggest mistakes of his career. Imagine hearing Forrest say, "Life is like a box of chocolates," in Travolta's voice. It just doesn't feel right. Other actors like Bill Murray and Chevy Chase were also considered, but they all passed. Ultimately, it was Hanks who brought the heart, innocence, and charm that defined Forrest. Sometimes casting fate works in mysterious ways, and this is a perfect example. Without Hanks, the film might never have reached the same emotional depth or global impact it enjoys today. Fact 3. The running scenes were a struggle. One of the most famous parts of Forrest Gump is when he runs across America. But here's the weird part. Tom Hanks didn't film all of those running shots. In many scenes, it was actually his younger brother, Jim Hanks, who worked as his stand-in. Jim ran in Forrest's iconic outfit when Tom wasn't available, and the resemblance was so strong that no one noticed the switch. Running for hours on camera under the hot sun was exhausting, so the filmmakers needed backup. This unusual trick not only saved the production, but also kept Tom fresh for emotional scenes. Today, fans are still surprised to learn that it wasn't always Tom sprinting through deserts and highways. It was his brother, literally running in his shoes. Fact 4. The iconic bench was a movie prop. The famous bench where Forrest Gump tells strangers his life story wasn't part of the town square in Savannah, Georgia. In fact, it was just a movie prop placed there for filming. After the movie's release, the bench became so iconic that tourists flooded the location to see it. Today, one of the original benches is preserved in the Savannah History Museum, where fans can visit and take photos. It's fascinating how such a simple piece of set design turned into a global landmark. The bench became a symbol of Forrest's storytelling and the movie's heart. Without it, the film wouldn't have the same cozy, intimate feeling. The line, "My mama always said life was like a box of chocolates," wouldn't be the same without that setting. Fact 5. Sally Field played Tom Hanks's mother despite age gap. One surprising fact is that Sally Field, who played Forrest's loving mother, was only 10 years older than Tom Hanks at the time. That's right, she was 47 while Hanks was 37. Despite the small age gap, Field gave such a heartfelt performance that audiences completely believed her as Mama Gump. What makes this even funnier is that just 6 years earlier, Sally Field had played Hanks's love interest in the comedy Punchline 1988. Talk about a drastic switch in roles. Yet her emotional depth and motherly warmth made the character unforgettable. She delivered some of the film's most memorable lines, including, "Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get." Field's performance proved that talent can overcome any casting oddities. Fact 6. The shrimp business became real. In the movie, Forrest and his friend Bubba dream about starting a shrimp business called Bubba Gump Shrimp Company. Believe it or not, that fictional movie idea turned into a real chain of restaurants. After the film's success, entrepreneurs launched the Bubba Gump Shrimp Company in 1996, and it quickly expanded worldwide. Today, you can visit Bubba Gump locations across the United States and even internationally. The restaurants are filled with Forrest Gump memorabilia and quotes, making it a fan-favorite tourist spot. It's rare for a fictional movie idea to become a real-life business empire. But Forrest Gump made it possible. Thanks to this strange twist, fans can literally taste a piece of Forrest's story, proving once again how deeply the movie impacted culture. Fact 7. Tom Hanks's accent was copied from a child actor. The Southern accent of Forrest Gump is unforgettable, but Tom Hanks didn't create it himself. Instead, he copied the speech pattern of Michael Connor Humphreys, the young actor who played Forrest as a child. Humphreys naturally had a thick Mississippi accent, and Hanks decided it would be more believable if adult Forrest sounded the same. He studied his way of speaking, carefully mimicking his slow, drawn-out delivery. This brilliant decision gave Forrest his unique voice, which became one of the most recognizable in film history. It's wild to think that such an iconic detail wasn't scripted, but improvised from a child actor's natural way of talking. Without this choice, Forrest's character might not have felt as authentic or memorable to audiences worldwide. Fact 8. The famous ping pong trick was movie magic. In the film, Forrest becomes a ping pong champion, dazzling audiences with his lightning-fast moves. But here's the secret. Tom Hanks wasn't actually hitting the ball. The ping pong sequences were created with CGI effects. Hanks practiced the motions, but the ball was digitally added later to make the rallies look impossibly smooth and fast. This clever trick amazed viewers who believed he had learned to play at a professional level. Interestingly, after the film's release, ping pong saw a surge in popularity in America, with many crediting Forrest Gump for inspiring new players. The seamless blend of acting and visual effects turned a simple subplot into one of the film's most entertaining moments. It's a reminder of how Hollywood movie magic can make the impossible look real. Fact 9. Forrest's running inspired a real movement. When Forrest decides to run across America, it wasn't just a quirky plotline. It sparked something real. After the film's release, many people were inspired to start cross-country runs, citing Forrest as their motivation. His line, "I just felt like running," became a cultural catchphrase. In fact, some organized long-distance running events directly honored the film. One runner even retraced Forrest's exact route, covering thousands of miles. The scene became so iconic that it's still referenced in pop culture and running communities today. It's amazing how a fictional character's spontaneous decision turned into a real-world movement, inspiring people to test their endurance and chase freedom. Forrest's run symbolized resilience and hope, and fans around the globe carried that message into their own lives. Fact 10. Robin Wright filmed while sick. Robin Wright, who played Jenny, faced serious challenges while filming. During the nightclip scene where Jenny sings on stage, Wright was battling a severe cold and fever. Despite feeling awful, she delivered a haunting performance that perfectly fit the emotional tone of Jenny's troubled life. Her raspy, fragile singing voice wasn't an act, it was genuine. The rawness of her performance made the scene unforgettable, adding to Jenny's tragic character arc. Wright later revealed that she struggled through many difficult filming days but pushed herself because she believed in the story. This dedication shows why Jenny remains one of the most memorable characters in 1990s cinema. Sometimes suffering behind the scenes brings unexpected authenticity, and Wright's commitment gave Jenny's story heartbreaking depth and realism. Fact 11. The Vietnam scenes were filmed in the U.S. Although Forrest fights in Vietnam, the battle scenes weren't filmed there. Instead, they were shot in South Carolina, specifically on Fripp Island and Hunting Island. The filmmakers used clever camera work, set design, and computer-generated effects to transform the American landscape into convincing Vietnamese jungles. Palm trees were flown in, and smoke machines created the humid, misty look. What's amazing is how realistic the final product looked, fooling audiences worldwide. The illusion was so convincing that many fans assumed the crew actually traveled overseas. In reality, the team never left the States for these sequences. This is a brilliant example of Hollywood's ability to recreate distant worlds without leaving home. With a mix of creativity and effects, South Carolina became Forrest's unforgettable Vietnam battlefield. Fact 12. The Apple stock was real. One of the funniest moments in Forrest Gump is when Forrest says he invested in some kind of fruit company, referring to Apple computers. While it was a joke in the film, it had a real-world twist. If Forrest had invested just $100 in Apple in the late 1970s, it would be worth millions today. The timing was almost prophetic, since Apple skyrocketed in the decades after the movie. Fans loved this detail because it highlights Forrest's uncanny luck, stumbling into fortune without realizing its significance. Ironically, Paramount Pictures, the studio behind the film, later regretted not acquiring stock in Apple themselves. What started as a throwaway line about a fruit company became one of the most memorable and financially realistic jokes in movie history. Fact 14. The famous line was improvised. One of the most quoted lines in film history, "My name is Forrest Gump, people call me Forrest Gump," wasn't in the script. Tom Hanks improvised it while filming, and director Robert Zemeckis loved it so much he kept it in the movie. The line perfectly captured Forrest's simple literal way of thinking, which became central to his charm. Fans still repeat it decades later, proving how powerful spontaneous creativity can be. Interestingly, Hanks has admitted that many of Forrest's quirky sayings were natural moments he discovered while filming. This improvisation gave Forrest his genuine, unscripted feel, which audiences connected with instantly. Sometimes the most unforgettable lines in cinema history aren't carefully written. They're created in the moment by brilliant actors fully living their roles. Fact 15. Hallie Joel Osment made his debut. Before he became famous for The Sixth Sense, child actor Hallie Joel Osment made his film debut in Forrest Gump. He played Forrest Jr., Forrest's son with Jenny. Although his role was small, his heartfelt performance stood out, hinting at the incredible career that would follow. His innocent reaction when meeting Forrest for the first time added huge emotional weight to the ending. Fans often forget that this was Osment's first appearance on the big screen. Just 5 years later, he earned an Academy Award nomination for The Sixth Sense. Looking back, it's fascinating to see how Forrest Gump not only created timeless moments, but also launched the career of one of the most talented child actors of the 1990s. Fact 16. Forrest Gump beat Pulp Fiction at the Oscars. In 1995, Forrest Gump went head-to-head with Quentin Tarantino's Pulp Fiction at the Academy Awards. Many critics believed Tarantino's stylish, edgy film would dominate. But to everyone's surprise, Forrest Gump swept the ceremony, winning 6 Oscars, including Best Picture, Best Actor for Tom Hanks, and Best Director for Robert Zemeckis. This shocked Hollywood, as Pulp Fiction was seen as the cooler movie of the moment. However, Forrest's heartwarming story captured voters' emotions, proving that timeless storytelling can outshine edginess. The victory sparked debates that still continue today. Was Forrest truly better than Pulp Fiction? Either way, this win cemented Forrest Gump as one of the greatest films of the 1990s and secured its place in cinema history forever. Fact 17. CGI was groundbreaking for its time. Today we take digital effects for granted, but in 1994, Forrest Gump pushed technology to new heights. The film used groundbreaking CGI to insert Forrest into real historical footage, making it look like he was meeting Presidents Kennedy, Johnson, and Nixon. This seamless blending amazed audiences and critics who had never seen anything so realistic. The technology was so advanced that it later inspired similar techniques in films throughout the 1990s and 2000s. Beyond politics, CGI also created Vietnam battle effects and enhanced many scenes subtly. For its time, these visual tricks were revolutionary, setting new standards for storytelling. Without this bold use of digital effects, Forrest Gump wouldn't feel as magical and believable as it does even 30 years after its release. Fact 18. Elvis Presley scene was a funny twist. One of the funniest cameos in Forrest Gump is when young Forrest teaches Elvis his iconic dance moves. But the man playing Elvis wasn't a superstar. It was actor Peter Dobson. To recreate Elvis's voice, the filmmakers used audio recordings from Elvis impersonator Kurt Russell. This mix of acting and voice dubbing created one of the movie's most entertaining Easter eggs. The idea was to show Forrest's hidden influence on history, humorously suggesting he inspired one of music's biggest legends. Fans loved the cheeky twist, and it remains one of the film's most replayed scenes. Without this clever cameo, the film wouldn't have had the same playful balance between comedy and heartfelt drama that made it such a classic.